But like I said, to them it feels like it's nothing more than just an issue to pad just a story that he's padding issue after issue until he gets to the end, so he can define it as his masterpiece. The masterpiece, the one story arc that will define his legacy. So, but, you know, that's not the only, but you see, besides that being newsworthy of the fact that the arc is still going, and fans are divided three ways from what I could tell, from what I mentioned in part 2. Hold on for a second. Sorry about that, folks. I had to put the bird in the other room. But like I said, you know, that is one newsworthy item you got to look at, because there's a lot of fans at several sites, several Sonic sites like Saturday Morning Sonic, Sonic Stadium, Sega Forums, Bumble King, Saturday Am Sonic, and even Toon Zone, that all feel the same way. And more importantly, even at DeviantArt. I mean, you take a look at a lot of the groups that have been made, some of the groups that have been made just based around this whole situation, and it really surprises you. I mean, why do you think I read some of the things? Why do you think I get some of the items? And I'm not saying it because I'm siding with one side. I'm just sharing one side's opinion, and believe me, mostly what I'm seeing is negative. And you can't really blame people for feeling that way if they're getting too bored with the whole story arc. Now, besides the fans, you know, feeling that, you know, now besides the fans over this past year feeling as though the story needs to end, whether they like it or not, whether they like it but still feel it needs to end because there's not much you can do with it, whether they like it and hope it continues, or whether they don't like it and just feel it needs to end. Another newsworthy item when it comes to Sally and her mecha situation is the fact that at this year's New York City Comic-Con, it was revealed at the Archie Comics panel, which you can actually find a video of here on YouTube, that Sally will be restored. Now, they actually did show pictures of this before the video went up. TSSZ showed some pictures, and Sally is going to indeed be restored. However, it's in a very controversial manner. You see, the redesign that she has her wearing black shorts with white stripes around them, white stripes at the knee area and the waist area, has her hair kind of different, has her vest button up, she has gloves with blue rings on them, and she's missing her cheek fur. Now, Ian Flynn has already assured fans, I guess if you want to believe him or not, that it's only a rough draft design. It's only a rough design, and that it's not final. And that Archie Comics does listen to the fans. So what that tells me is perhaps we'll get Sally back, you know, with the redesign, but maybe with some resemblance of her old self. Now, some fans do want to take him for his word, and I'll keeping him to his word. Then it's not the final design. Even though he likes to, like I mentioned earlier, in the eyes of some, manipulate and say, it may be, it may not be. So some people are taking it for his word that it's a rough design, and that they're waiting until the final design, and waiting to show the final design. Now, some are okay with it. Heck, I'm fine with it myself, because you can still see it's Sally, even though it's a different design. It's kind of like with seasons, if you will. It's kind of like with different seasons in animation and in live action. Animation-wise, the one I can think about the most is the Blazing Dragons cartoon. Two different animation styles for two different seasons. And you could definitely see the change in characters. For example, the princess character, I can't think of her name right now. Princess Blaze or whatever her name was. The female dragon in Blazing Dragons. Her season 1 design was way different than her season 2 design. And all because of different animation. And, you know, it's not the first time. I mean, even Sonic SatAM had different character redesigns. Second season, Rotor and Antron had a redesign. You could see that. Sally had a bit of a redesign with the vest and the pupils, and her, you know, she was a little darker. But that was about it. Same with Bunny. But you knew with Antron and Rotor, it was still them. And with Sally, it was still her. You see what I'm trying to say is that despite how much they changed in design, if not because of different animation, it's still the same character. Nothing has changed. And I think that's what a lot of fans are confused about. They look at this design, and a lot of fans who don't like it are like, well, she now looks like another regular Sega female character. She doesn't look like Sally. But some that feel as though, hey, you know, it is Sally, give it time, if you will, you know, they understand. So again, just like with a lot of things, the fan base has been divided over the past few months of this year over this redesign. Some are okay with it, some are not. And of course, another direction, like I say, is some are okay with it, and they say, hey, just like Ian Flynn, wait it out and see what happens. So, that redesign is supposed to happen after the whole Mecha Sally deal occurs, which will probably be around 252, 253 next year, late next year. But you see, besides Mecha Sally, another thing that's really been on a lot of fans' minds is what's going to happen with Bunny, what's going to happen with Antron. See, Bunny, in case some of you don't know, went AWOL earlier this year because of what happened to Antron. Antron right now is in a coma because he was nearly killed, sacrificing himself to protect the royal family. So she's gone AWOL and she's de-roboticized, thanks to Nagus' magic, which a lot of fans have felt has been a cop-out. And a lot of fans feel this year has been filled, this comic has been filled with this past year with, by Ian Flynn, and that's cop-outs. They feel it's been nothing but a cop-out year for him. Or has it been? You see, there's no doubt, again, like I said in part 1, this has been a newsworthy year. From a lot of standpoints that I've mentioned, from a lot of points that I've mentioned, including the fans looking at things and not liking them, and some do like it. Like I said, you know, Sally's situation when she became mechanized. You know, earlier this year she was weaponized, or at the end of last year she was weaponized. And a lot of fans debated, was she, you know, disassembled and re-put together with a new body, or was weaponized armor, you know, welded onto her? Nobody really knows. I mean, they take a look at Eggman putting a modified ring in the back of her where a rocket's at. Well, they look at a laser cannon coming out of her head and they're thinking, what the heck is going on? You know, what did Ian Flynn have Eggman do? You see, this is one thing a lot of fans felt has been controversial and has been debated. But again, when I think about it, I think back to an episode of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command called Revenge of the Monsters, I believe. And in the episode, Mira Nova, and Booster were both turned into wirewolves, if you will. Wirewolves, of course, equal robotization. Turned into robot wolves, if you will. And there's one scene that after they're turned into wirewolves, where Buzz and XR are getting away from them, XR is thinking, hey, they can't get us up here, or anything. They can't get us up here. And then all of a sudden you see Mira sprout metallic rings out of her back. Booster has some kind of rocket booster come out of his back. And they go right up after them. So just because, so when I saw that, that kind of tells me, you know, just because Sally, let's say, has a laser cannon in her head, who's to say she didn't have it in there in the first place? Basically when she was roboticized. You see, nobody really knows exactly what all the details are. So again, her weaponization's been up for debate because no one really knows the true outcome, and Ian Flynn hasn't really said anything. So no one really knows. No one really knows the details. And Ian Flynn ain't talking when it comes to that. But another newsworthy item that happened this year, for some that pretty much have been waiting for it to happen, and I'm checking my time here, have been waiting for it to happen, the Sonic Encyclopedia finally was released. Now this had been talked about for over a year, from what I understand, it's been in the works, and finally, this past fall, was released. And 191 pages worth, chock full of information and content. 191 pages worth. Definitely a good read. And here's what kind of tips me off a little bit. You have Julie Sue and Saffron and Remington giving their own pages. Well, Saffron's a Charmy, but you have her giving a page with him. You have Julie Sue have her own page. You have Remington have his own page. Makes you think perhaps there is an agreement, and perhaps the characters will still be used. It's just that at the time of 244, they couldn't be. So it makes you think. Otherwise, it was good news to finally hear this come out. And of course, another book that came out was The Best of Sonic the Hedgehog, which, Volume 1, which is a hard book, is being released in paperback. But overall, very newsworthy year. Very newsworthy year. I mean, what more could you ask for? I mean, you had some up and down issues according to many fans. Some were good, some were bad. You know, you had a lot of fans. You basically had the fan base divided more so than a lot of people have seen it ever divided. And, you know, now we just got to look forward to next year. But we did see some good things come out. I mean, we saw Trunks 24, who, like Ian Flynn, was a fan, finally get his art published as part of the cover for 247. And, and that's about it. At least we got Ian Flynn communicating with the fan base. And all I could say is 2012 has been newsworthy. Again, had some, from what I have read through summaries and listened to on YouTube with reviews and read reviews, been a very up and down year when it comes to the whole story arc and the issues involved. So what does 2013 have to offer? Well, we'll just have to wait and see, but we know the crossover is going to be in 2013. We know issue 50 is coming for Sonic Universe. We know Underground is coming, and we know Sally's Restortion is coming. So 2013 may look like it's going to be an even more newsworthy year for the Sonic comic books, and we'll just have to see what happens. So thank you all for watching this 3-part video on 2012, the year 2012, Sonic, the year into Sonic Comics. Comment down below, and I'll talk to you all later.